Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have enjoyed the sessions throughout today's program and hope that it has raised awareness on the inclusive business concept, model, activities, and approaches that could contribute towards the ASEAN Economic Community 2025 as we build back better through building inclusive business. Now we have come to the closing session of the 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit. In this closing session, we will hear remarks from our co-organizers for today's summit. First, we will invite Ms. Marta Pérez Cusó, Economic Affairs Officer, ESCAP.
Thank you very much, Suhailee. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and a bit of a pressure to try to summarize some of the key takeaways from today's 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit. I think that by now it is clear for all of us that building more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive Southeast Asia, we need to encourage the emergence and development of inclusive businesses that do good at scale. However, we have also heard that making inclusive businesses work is a challenging task. Our guest speakers have told us and shared with us several opportunities to advance inclusive businesses. And I will focus on four, what I take away as 4 core opportunities. The first is government support. Governments have played and will continue to play a critical role as market shapers and investors to encourage and enable business leaders to introduce new and expand existing inclusive business models and social enterprises. There is a need yet to promote more infrastructure, both soft and hard, to help these type of businesses improve their business models and scale up. There is, for example, a need to support more impact measurement, to develop capacities around digitalization, to provide business coaching, or to support financial literacy. As we move forward, governments can implement the guidelines for promoting inclusive business in ASEAN. And we can now build on the example of pioneering countries and probably focus first on raising awareness, setting up accreditation, providing business coaching, as well as facilitating access to finance through, for example, dedicated support to encourage social ventures in early stages, as well as mechanisms that help leverage private investment once these ventures are more consolidated. So that's the first opportunity, government support. The second will be about sharing and learning how to design business models with low income and marginalized groups in mind. We heard today about different measures to make business inclusive, ranging from inclusive features that make goods and services more affordable and available, using, for example, dual pricing, introducing a gender and cultural lens, walking the talk and putting in place inclusive employment practices, and enabling marginalized groups to harness digital technologies for learning, trading, managing businesses, and accessing finance. I think the third strategy for me will be to build on ASEAN's strengths, on its SMEs, and on its envisioned single market. To help those at the base of the economic pyramid have job opportunities and prosper in tandem with national economic growth, it is crucial that inclusive business incorporate micro, small, and medium enterprises into their supply chains, support green recovery, and promote access to markets, finance, and skills development. Moreover, as an ASEAN economic community that envisions ASEAN to become a single market with a unique single production base and characterized by the free flow of goods, services, investments, capital, and labor, we could work strategically across border, promoting cross-border IB supply chains that with the support of governments. In this, I think that the ASEAN Business Advisory Council can continue to promote inclusive businesses. They have already promoted the topic and policy agenda in ASEAN, and they have also been supportive greater awareness through the Inclusive Business Award. Now, it is also clear that the fourth element that we need to continue to promote and support inclusive business is to continue working collectively. There are many fantastic examples that we've heard today, as those from the School of Concept, from Armorize, Doitung, or the Cocoa Sustainable Sourcing by Mars, where various actors have come together from the private sector, from foundations, social enterprises, and have developed socially innovative approaches which have helped to uplift people's livelihoods. I also see that there are opportunities to work collectively at the ASEAN level in the promotion of inclusive businesses, namely exchanging national experiences in promoting inclusive business, and to perhaps provide across ASEAN support in terms of finance, coaching services, etc. I think that in this regard, the proposal tabled to the regional initiative of ASEAN integration on promoting IB in Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam could be a valuable mechanism. At ESCAP, we are committed to continue supporting ASEAN member states to promote inclusive business, including through supporting governments implement the regional guidelines for promoting inclusive business, continue to support ASEAN dialogues like the one of today, and promoting inclusive business models in agriculture in South and Southeast Asia over the next 3 years in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. To finalize, I want to say that to advance programs and the emergence and growth of more inclusive business models, we look forward working with all of you and with other development partners, government agencies, business associations, civil society, and impact investors. Let me now conclude by congratulating the host, the government of Brunei Darussalam, and in particular there, for organizing this summit under the ASEAN umbrella, along with ESCAP, the Inclusive Business Action Network, and the OECD. The excellent teamwork has made this summit a real success and a joint event. Thank you very much, and let me congratulate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Marta. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now invite Dr. Christian Jahn, Executive Director, iBAN, for his remarks.
Dear Excellencies, distinguished guests, it's really a great pleasure to be here. Before I thank all the panelists and speakers and moderators and the audience who contributed so much today to the discussion, I would like to take one step back and recap a bit that we just started 4 years ago in introducing the concept of inclusive business in ASEAN. The Inclusive Business Agenda was introduced in ASEAN only in 2017 through a call by the ASEAN leaders for greater emphasis on creating an enabling environment for inclusive business. And then already 1 year later, in 2018, the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises took the lead in promoting IB in ASEAN and has collaborated there with us, the Inclusive Business Action Network, and also with ESCAP and the OECD. All this in efforts to help ASEAN member states build the capacity and also develop a better understanding of the IB concept and IB approaches among policymakers and businesses. And thus also really encourage more inclusive businesses to emerge and really scale up as we see it already. And since then, ASEAN really has made significant progress in advancing the promotion of IB at both national, notably also through 3 landscape study that was also just mentioned, and also at regional levels. And just last year, the guidelines for the promotion of inclusive business in ASEAN were finalized and endorsed by the ASEAN economic ministers in August 2020, and represent therefore the most recent and significant milestone, providing a common reference point for ASEAN policymakers to further promote the IB agenda. And as we also just heard, several countries started already to integrate IB in the national programs and development strategies. And all this happened in less than 4 years. And considering the fact that for almost 2 years, we all struggle with the impact of the corona pandemic. And this becomes then even more meaningful and earns really a big applause to all those in the ASEAN member states who made this possible. Now, this was only possible because of strong partnership that have developed, leading really to IB being firmly embedded in the agenda of ASEAN and the member states. And now the time has come to broaden the discussion beyond the converted and reach out now to other communities that are not aware of IB's potential yet. Now, to be able to fully harvest the potential of inclusive business, we now need more collaborative effort, as it was very often mentioned also today. And now to further extend the awareness of IB and bring the topic of, or also to the SME, iBAN's free and open online course, Introduction to IB, which we just developed, is now also available on the ASEAN SME Academy. And more courses are still in process, and we look forward to also place them in the Academy. On another point, to further extend also the awareness of IB in the ASEAN member states, iBAN has supported ACSME in developing local language briefing notes on the guidelines for the promotion of IB in ASEAN, which will be published also shortly. And now, as a last point, to further extend the awareness of IB and its potential to cross-agency and cross-ASEAN pillars and even cross-continental collaboration, iBAN, together with ACSME and ESCAP and OECD, will also organize a regional webinar on November 15 this year. And we all look very much forward to greet you there again. Now, really, let me again say a big thank you to all who brought the IB agenda forward in the last 4 years. And we from the Inclusive Business Action Network look forward to accompany you with this agenda in the next 4 years as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jahn. Distinguished guests, last but not least, it is now my deepest pleasure to invite Ms. Norlela Suhailee, Head of Business Development and Support, Darussalam Enterprise there, Brunei, Darussalam.
Thank you, Suhailee. Representatives of the ACSME, fellow ASEAN colleagues and development partners, esteemed panelists and participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to say a few words at the closing of today's 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit. On behalf of Darussalam Enterprise there, I'm very grateful for having had the opportunity to co-organize this event under one of the key initiatives of the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, ACSME, together with our Inclusive Business Champion partners, the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, the Inclusive Business Action Network, iBAN, and the ASEAN Secretariat. Since the agenda of inclusive business was introduced in ASEAN in 2017, it is very encouraging to see how ACSME and its collaboration partners have led the way in creating awareness and promoting inclusive business in ASEAN, helping ASEAN member states in its capacity building and developing a better understanding of the inclusive business concept and approaches among policymakers and businesses. For this, I must applaud the commitment demonstrated by not only our partners in continuously promoting, driving, and building an enabling environment for inclusive businesses to flourish in the region, but also the multi-level efforts by ASEAN member states in actively engaging in inclusive business policy development and in implementing the various programs and initiatives to promote the inclusive business agenda further. There, being Brunei Darussalam's focal to ACSME and taking the opportunity of Brunei Darussalam's ASEAN Chairmanship this year, so this as an avenue to continue ASEAN's advocacy for inclusive and sustainable growth, and this eventually led to the decision to host today's summit. Inferring from the panel discussions today, the message is crystal clear. What we are seeing today is about enhancing and strengthening our commitment to promoting and accelerating the development of inclusive business in ASEAN in an escalated and continuing effort to respond to the challenges posed by the COVID-19 crisis. In order to cope and keep up with this challenging situation, and as we move forward in the wake of COVID-19 for the foreseeable future, it has now become more evident that our strategy demands collective and coherent actions from various stakeholders. It demands effective and innovative solutions, and it demands modifications in our existing operations and processes with inclusive approaches and impact models relevant to the socio-economic challenges we are facing today. To echo the sentiments surrounding the summit today, and in the spirit of being an integral part of ASEAN community in building a resilient, inclusive, people-oriented and people-centered community, I believe that this is another call for action to all of us to continue and maximize our effort in developing more resilient and inclusive growth. Taking this opportunity, I would like to congratulate Cambodia for its commitment to carry the torch of further promoting and advancing the agenda of inclusive business with the hosting of the 5th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit under its chairmanship next year. As we continue to bring inclusive business to the forefront of ASEAN priority, I'm confident that the support given to Cambodia next year will be nothing less than outstanding. Now that we have come to the end of the 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit, I would like to take this opportunity to express my warmest thanks and gratitude to our co-organizers, ESCAP, OECD, iBAN, and the ASEAN Secretariat for your relentless effort and outstanding support in organizing this event. The weekly preparatory meetings leading up to the event today have been extremely useful in ensuring the desired outcomes of the summit are achieved. Without your support, it would not have been possible for us to pull off today's event with great success. To our esteemed moderators and speakers, I just want to say how much we appreciate the time and effort that all of you have made to join us today. Your willingness to share your experience and expertise on the various aspects of inclusive business played a vital role in making this summit a success. This is clearly an illustration of one key initiative that shows the importance of collaborative efforts and sharing of knowledge and best practices that will bring us closer to the advancement and acceleration of inclusive business in ASEAN. To all the participants, thank you for your participation in this event. It is indeed an absolute pleasure that we get a chance to host you, albeit virtually, with the same spirits and enthusiasm of having you all physically in Brunei. Learning from what has been discussed today, I'm sure that there are many things that we can do and accomplish to contribute to the creation of an enabling environment for inclusive business in the region. I take this opportunity to thank you all on behalf of our entire organization. Last but not least, I wish to extend my greatest appreciation to my colleagues at DARE, in particular the International Relations and Cooperation team, as well as our virtual platform provider, InsightPact, for all the hard work and arrangements to ensure smooth delivery of this summit, without which this summit would not have been possible to take place. With that, I conclude my remarks here. Thank you again for your participation.
Thank you, Ms. Norlela. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to announce that the event feedback form that has been shared on the Zoom chat box, we would greatly appreciate it if you can spend a moment to fill in the feedback form before leaving this event. Your feedback is important to improve our future events. Once again, the event feedback form has been shared on the Zoom chat box. If you can have a moment to fill in before you leave today's event. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, with that, we have arrived to the conclusion of today's 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit hosted by Brunei Darussalam. Taking this opportunity, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed moderators and speakers for their sharing of insights today. We would like to also thank you for the attendance of the representatives of the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, ACSME, fellow ASEAN colleagues and development partners, as well as distinguished guests and participants for attending today's summit. The hosting of today's summit would not have been possible without Darussalam Enterprise DARE, in close consultation with the Ministry of Finance and Economy Brunei Darussalam, together with the co-organizers, the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UN ESCAP, Inclusive Business Action Network, iBAN, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and the ASEAN Secretariat, as well as stakeholders that have been involved during the planning and execution of this event. Last but not least, it is our hope we have the opportunity to meet face-to-face. In the meanwhile, stay safe and stay healthy as we build back better through building inclusive business. Until then, my name is Fadli, live from Bandar Seri Begawan. It has been a pleasure to be your master of ceremony on this fantastic day. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you and see you soon.
Thank you all for your participation in this last segment of the 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit 2021. As we conclude this summit, we would like to kindly invite you to fill the experience survey that we just shared in the chat. Thank you again for your participation in the 4th ASEAN Inclusive Business Summit 2021, and we wish you all an excellent end of the day.
Bound together by friendship and mutual respect, ASEAN member states have built a community with rapid economic development, social progress, and continued peace and stability. ASEAN is the 5th largest economy in the world and one of the fastest growing. Together, ASEAN member states are working towards achieving shared goals and objectives, including the ASEAN Community Vision 2025. A vision of a peaceful, stable, and resilient community, responding effectively to challenges within a global community of nations while maintaining ASEAN centrality. This year, the world has confronted one of its greatest challenges to date with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the entire ASEAN community. ASEAN is determined to enhance its ability to adapt and recover, to embrace opportunities from new technologies and innovation, and to be ready to face challenges together. In 2021, Brunei Darussalam has the chairmanship. Brunei Darussalam hopes to harness the caring nature of ASEAN, preparing for the future, creating opportunities for all, enhancing sustainable prosperity, working with partners under one vision, one identity, and one caring and sharing community. In 2021, ASEAN will stand as a community that is more prepared in overcoming challenges, contributing to a harmonious, prosperous, and resilient community in a peaceful, secure, and stable region. As we declare to the world, we care, we prepare, we prosper. Welcome all to the abode of peace, Brunei Darussalam. ASEAN Chairmanship 2021.